You guys, this is a very, 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 and I want you guys to count how many varies because this is very, 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 very close friend of mine. Like this is one of my this girl. I've known her for so long, bro. Oh my gosh. All right, this is. Should I call you? Okay, I need you to teach me. Do I call you JD or attorney? Is the JD first?
Oh, it's attorney. It's
Okay.
attorney. I mean, like, yeah, I have the JD, but like once you pass the bar, you get the Esquire after. So it's like everyone just goes by Esquire. The
So do I
family
call
dog
you
wants to say
Esquire and
hi.
then your name, or your name and then Esquire?
My name then Esquire.
Okay, so this so one more time. One more time. Do I do attorney? Your name Esquire? I don't know. I
Oh
didn't even
no no
tell
no! You
me.
can you can pick one. You can pick one. You can pick one. We can
Okay,
either say Sedaris Mathis Esquire or attorney Sedaris Mathis. You know what I'm saying?
okay. We
Hi.
have Sedaris Mathis Esquire. You guys. Okay, I'm so excited to interview you. We're gonna be taking live questions from the chat. They're clapping.
Okay,
Okay,
I was
clap,
actually
clap.
watching right before you added me, and I can't give legal advice to people who aren't my clients.
Okay, see,
But I can, yeah,
can
I
you
can like
direct
guide
them?
on what
Yeah.
my knowledge is, but like,
See, important information. All right, let's go ahead and get to our first question. I want to before we get into our first question, actually, I want to give you the flow of what we're gonna do. We're gonna start off by talking about. We're gonna learn a little bit about you, and then learn about your experience in law school, and then talk about now being a lawyer. That's the flow for the interview. Okay, so the first question I have for you is they said we'll just say that you allegedly don't say that you allegedly gave us legal advice. No, you're not gonna say that.
no.
Okay.
No.
My first question for you is, when did you decide to pursue law, and how did you come to that decision? Also, what was your major in undergrad?
Okay. So I was in undergrad when I decided to pursue law. What made me come to that decision is the fact that I was majoring in psychology and I took a research and statistics class, and I just realized that I didn't want to do research even like in psychology as much as I thought I did. I mean, like, I got a good grade in the class, but it was just like, oh, I didn't actually enjoy doing this at all. And so I had always knew it was either going to be psychology or law. And so once I was like, okay, it's definitely not psychology, I just pivoted and decided I was going to start studying and go to law school, because all you need to go to law school is a bachelor's degree. It doesn't matter what it's in. So,
okay. So you majored in psychology?
Psychology. Yeah, finished the degree. Just didn't go any further with psychology.
Oh, wow. See, I didn't know that. So, you guys, that means if you have a bachelor's degree, you could low-key become a lawyer if you go to law school. I did not know that. I thought you had to major in like a specific
most people do go, most people go knowing that they want to go to law school, so they major in like political science or criminology or something, but you don't have to.
Do you feel like majoring in psychology do you feel like when you went to law school that it was maybe difficult for you coming from a psychology degree where all these other people may have been coming from political science degrees or like a more traditional pathway?
Not for law school itself, like maybe the practice of law, but not for law. But then by the time we get into actual practice, then you have much more like world experience and time to get into like political science. So it doesn't really matter. For law school itself, law school teaches you how to be a lawyer as far as like research, writing, and things of that nature. So the only people who really had an advantage, and not even really, were like the English majors who like had to write a lot. But even still, legal writing is so specific that they didn't even have an advantage. So no, I didn't feel disadvantaged at all. If anything, in my actual practice, I feel like it's helpful because I work with people as opposed to like representing companies. So it helps for me to understand how like the brain works and what people are going through. It makes me more empathetic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, the empathy part of it. I wanted to know, when choosing a law school, what are the factors that you thought of to decide like a good law school that you wanted to attend?
Yeah, so okay. For one, there are a few things. So like I knew how the law schools in Georgia were ranked. And so it like matters depending on what you want to do with your life after law school. So it's like having a higher ranked law school will help you get into bigger law firms because like, you know, they care about that type of thing. So I looked at that, but I also was looking at who would accept me. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, what's the minimum or like median GPA at these law schools? What's the average LSAT score at these law schools? And where do my scores fall? Like, I mean, I applied everywhere I wanted to go, but that was a big consideration. And then the last thing, like off the top of my head, was the location of the law school. So like, um, if I had gone to Georgia State, which was like right around the corner from where I went to undergrad, then I would have still been near all my friends, would have been in the
Yeah.
middle of the city, versus like going to Mercer where I went. I was kind of in the middle
You
of
were far,
nowhere. Had
girl.
no, I mean, I made friends, yeah, but like I had no real friends. So it was like, okay, I could focus on just law
Oh
school,
yeah,
which you kind of need,
yeah. I
unless
want.
you're really disciplined.
Okay, that's a good question about how like the discipline part. What were some of the things that I'm going to start off by saying, like, I always tell people in my experience, college, like undergrad, was way easier than high school for me. And I want to know what were some of those differences from going from undergrad to law school. Like, did you have to study more? Did you have to like limit maybe partying or
Oh,
something in
for
that nature?
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely studied way more. I will say, like, I was always the type to study, like, even in college, um, which I didn't really study in high school because high school was easy.
She's
College
always
wasn't
been
hard,
smart,
but I
y'all.
did
Always
find
been smart.
but I did have to study in college. So then, like, when I got to law school, I already had the pattern of like, okay, I know when I need to study based on like how much material it is. So it wasn't like a hard transition, but there is like a lot of discipline that needs to be put into it because yeah, like my friends from college, they really could have decided not to be my friend anymore because I almost completely cut them off. I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
guys, I gotta lock in. Like, I don't have time to be in all these
Yeah.
group chats. I can't come to these functions. Like, yeah, I mean, like, you get time to do things because the law school will have scheduled things. And so you get close to your own like class. But as far as like leaving Macon, I didn't do that a lot. No.
Do you feel like, because I know there's 3 years of law school, do you feel like it gets
Yeah.
harder, like more difficult, or easier every year you go further?
The easiest year is the very last year, if you ask me.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so the second year is the hardest, but the first year
Really?
is like hard in a different way.
Uh huh.
Yeah, so and they tell you that. So it's like the first year is hard because you're learning like you're reframing your brain. Like, I don't know, there's just a certain way that lawyers think that like you don't naturally think. So you're learning how to do the type of work that they want you to do. And so that's why the first year is hard, but the second year is hard because they're like, oh, you get it now. And they just throw everything at you. And then the
Oh.
second year is also when like you're really trying to find what you want to do. Some people get jobs. The second year is when you can get involved in like extra curricular things like mock
Mm-hmm.
trial, moot court, like the writing teams and all that stuff. So it's like that's when you're really trying to make your mark. So it's like the workload does get harder, but also you're trying to do other things on top of the workload. So that's what really makes it hard. And the last year, like you should have a pretty good handle on everything. And
Yeah.
the classes don't necessarily get easier, but it's just like the second year classes were the hardest. So now it's like, okay, you're just like balanced, just trying to finish.
You saying that the second year is the hardest reminds me of like when I try to take Spanish in college. The first year easy. Second year I walk into class and she's like, "We're only speaking Spanish. This is the last bit of English you're hearing." I'm like, "What the heck? What was this freaking transition? How we get here?" I dropped
No,
out the
yeah, that's
class.
a big jump.
FYI. Okay. We did get a question in the chat, but I'm gonna ask that later because I feel like that is a really good question. But I'm gonna ask it when I ask another question that goes in with that. Um, okay, so I know that now you are a personal injury attorney. When
Hmm.
did you decide to make that your field, like your chosen field? And then what were a couple other options that you were considering when you were thinking of your options?
Yeah, okay. So I did not. I kind of fell into it. It's crazy. I was just telling
Mm.
somebody this. I really fell into personal injury. It's not something I chose. Like, obviously, I chose to submit the application to the firm, but it was like, I don't know. It was such like a like back of my head type of situation, and then it just ended up being the perfect fit. I was considered when I first went to law school. I thought I wanted to do family law, and I heavily
Yeah.
considered that up until the end. When I just started talking to some family lawyers, and they were explaining how like emotionally taxing it is, and how hard it is to like not take their work home with them. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, well maybe I won't do that. And then I didn't like have any avenues to get into it anyway. And so I was really just heavily considering doing like prosecution work. So I was applying to DA's offices. I was applying to like uh, magistrate courts and things like that to see if I can get in there. And I was doing interviews, but once I interviewed with him, because I only wanted to do small firms. I summered for for a big law firm during law school, and it was cool, but I knew I didn't want to do that long term, and there were
Yeah.
some other things that happened in between. But like, um, yeah, I knew I wanted to go small firm. And so once I interviewed with him, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And I knew I wanted to represent people instead of companies like I was
Yeah.
doing at the bigger law firm that I summered with.
I was going to say, because you mentioned that you were applying to a lot of jobs, and I know if I remember correctly, you apply to jobs before you take the bar exam, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So
how?
that whole summer that I was
Yeah.
studying, I was applying. Yeah.
How is it? Because I know you've had your job for a while, but like I do also hear about how the job market is so tough right now, and it's getting tougher and tougher. When you were applying to jobs, and I believe it was during law school, what was that process like? Like, was it? Do you feel like if you're in law school, like it's easy to get a job at a firm, or is there a tough process? Is there a lot of nepotism involved, or anything like that?
I didn't specifically like witness nepotism, as far as like someone being related, but it is like favoritism. It's like, who do you know? Like, who has the best and biggest connections, basically? Because if you summer somewhere, and especially if you summer there after your second year of law school, if you do well, eight, 9 times out of 10, they're going to offer you to come on with them the next year after you graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just typically how it goes, but not everyone is able to get jobs in the legal field that summer for whatever personal reasons. So like, or they get a job and they don't like it and they don't want to do that, when they graduate. So it's like, if you don't get a job during that time period, then yeah, the job market is kind of hard
Mm-hmm.
because there's a whole slew of new lawyers about to come out.
Yeah.
But it just depends because some jobs will like give you a offer, but then it's like only if you pass the bar. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just hit or miss.
Does your school at all, does the law school at all help you find like internships and jobs? Was that how your experience was?
Yeah. So I had a really great mentor as soon as I got in. She told me about a program through which she applied for her positions. And so I used that same portal to apply and like interview in front of like 10 different companies. And then one of them picked me.
Oh, okay.
Um, and that was set up through the school. Like that's something that a resource the school gives you. And then yeah, you just have to do the work to apply. And my mentor was one who told me about the resource. Um, but yeah, the school helps a lot as long as again you like know and talk to the right people, as long as you go to career services, because not everyone does, but like I had friends who worked in the career services
Mm-hmm.
office, so like they advocated for the fact that it is a good resource, because you not everyone knows that like they can do that. I mean,
Yeah,
they can't get you a job, but
they can
most of
help.
them either went to law school or like have these connections just from working at a law school so that they can help, because the legal field is all about connections. So
I was gonna ask. So we all know that, like in undergrad, the popular phrase is "C's get degrees." I can't imagine that being the phrase for law school. So, what do you feel like is the like the level of, I don't know, do you do GPA in law school, or is it a different thing going on?
yeah,
Okay, so what is the
I
GPA
mean,
you
there's a
think
different scale,
minimum
but
that you need to like succeed?
so crazy enough, I mean, it's not a saying anyone's gonna put out there, but C's do get the degree.
But you
Okay.
get the job though.
And it's funny. Exactly. C's might not get you the job that you want, I'll say, because
Okay.
what I will say is like big law firms that pay a lot, they want the top of the class. They
Yeah.
want the people who are writing for law review and getting mock trial experience, even if you never see a courtroom. They just want the top of the class because they want who's going to make their firm look the best. But it is a running thing in law school that like the top of the class, they typically go and get paid the most, but they also typically sit behind a desk and like do contracts or defense or whatever. And the people at the lower end of the class who got the C's, they end up being the best trial lawyers because I don't whether it's like they end up working for the public defender's office, and so immediately they start getting experience or what have you. Like me working at a small firm, I got way more experience within my first 2 years than people at bigger law firms making more than me. But because of the field I'm in, that it allows me to project to potentially make more than them. It's always going to be speculative in my area. But like I have the potential to make more than them, if that makes sense. So it's like, and don't get me wrong, no, I wasn't at the bottom of the class. let's not get that confused. I wasn't at the bottom of the class, but I'm just saying.
I was gonna
Let's
say,
not, yeah, no.
I was gonna say, okay, so after you were in law school, you applied for internships, you ended up getting an internship, you graduated law school, now it's time for the bar exam. What was my question about the bar? I had two questions. What was your experience when taking that bar exam? What was your mindset going in? Did you feel like going into it you knew everything? You felt like you were like, did you feel like confident? And then also, this is like a 3-part question. Did you feel confident taking your bar exam? I'm sorry. Did you feel confident taking your bar exam? As well as when, that's the before when you took your bar exam, did you feel confident? And then when you saw it in front of you, how did you feel? Like when you actually saw the question.
Okay, so you're saying like studying, did I feel confident?
Yeah.
And then like when I sat down and took it, okay.
Yeah.
So studying, so it's like a 3-month study process. So like the first 3 weeks, no, I didn't feel confident at all because it's like, oh snap.
Everything okay?
Yeah, you got a call, so I wanted to make sure that y'all can still see me.
Oh yeah,
we
can see you.
Okay, cool. So before studying, like the first month of studying is like there's no confidence because you're doing these practice exams, you're not getting good grades because you don't know all the material, because it's like, so in law school you can choose to take all the subjects that are going to be on the bar, but then like you likely won't get to take a class that you really want to take for just for your own skill development and for your future. So there's some areas that like I was learning for the first time when studying for the bar, and so like, and then there was also COVID that happened in our first year of law school, so it's like some stuff we just really didn't learn, and studying that stuff for the bar was difficult. But after that first month, it really wasn't even like about confidence in my study abilities. There was a lot of prayer going on. So I just remember like feeling like at peace with, I'm gonna do my job and do the best that I can, and God is gonna do the rest. Like all I can do is study the stuff that they gave me. That's all I can do. And so that was kind of my mentality going into the bar exam as well. Like, the best I can do is the best I can do. I was just like, God, guide my hand to the right answers, and from there we'll see what happens. And I scored pretty well. So
is it similar? Is it multiple choice, or is it mostly write in the answers?
It's both. So there's 2 days of the bar exam. The first day is multiple choice, and the second day is essays. I might have that backwards. I can't even remember. It's been so long. But like there's a day of essays and then there's a day of multiple choice.
Yeah. Someone in the chat asked, so I didn't know this, so I need you to tell me if this is real or not. Do you pay an annual fee for a bar membership?
Yeah.
Well, I did not know that. And I guess it will differ per
to
state.
say it probably does differ from state to state, but yeah, to stay within good standing of the Georgia bar, I pay a fee each year. And it depends on where you end up landing for work. Some jobs end up paying it for their
Oh,
attorneys.
okay.
Like my job paid it for my first 2 years, I believe. I think this past year was the first year I paid it myself.
Does it?
It's not like a crazy fee, especially once you start making money.
What's the range? I don't want to ask you specifically how much you're paying, but if you can give me a range of like where it falls in.
Like, I don't know what other states are, so I'm just gonna do like a decent size range of like 200 to 500.
Oh, okay, because I thought you were about to say thousands. I was gonna be like, what the heck?
No,
I
no,
was about to be
no,
like, what the actual heck? I would have said it, but I would have thought it
no.
internally. You would have saw my eyes go like, whoa. Okay.
No, they're not too crazy.
Yeah. I wonder what it will be like. So, what do you think is the most expensive state for the annual bar exam? I mean, annual bar membership. I'm thinking California.
I would say that I would probably say California as well, because it usually is like just based on how that state's income looks, and
maybe New York.
California is one of like the highest. Yeah, like they're like the highest type, like states with the highest income. So,
let me see. I feel like that was maybe the last. Okay, the last question I have for law school is what advice do you have for someone who is currently in law school or thinking of going to law school?
Okay, I'll start with thinking of going to law school. If you're thinking of going to law school, do it.
Just do it. Like
just
Nike.
Do it. No, seriously. Like Nike, just do it. Because I don't know, I just think that the benefits are there. Like, especially if you know you want to be a lawyer. Study for the LSAT to make sure you get a good score. But yeah, anyone who tells me they're like, oh, I think I might want to be a lawyer, I'm like, yeah, go for it. Because I mean, I love it. There are so many different things you can do with the JD. There are some people who don't even go on to like be litigation attorneys. Like there are programs where you can get your JD and BA all at the same time. So it makes you marketable even if you don't want to practice law specifically. So I say do it. Advice for people who are already in law school, keep your head down and grind it out. Like it gets better. It gets better.
It's only 3 years.
That's my advice.
Very,
like
very
it definitely it's just 3 years. Just there's a rainbow on the other side. Like, yeah, just tough it out. And some people enjoy law school. Some people like actually had a good time. And I'm not saying I didn't. Like there was fun intermingled, but like for the most part it was stressful. And so if that's your experience, just tough it out as long as you know this is what you want to do.
I was gonna ask, I know I said that was the last question about law school, but I have one more. Out of all the movies you've seen about law school, because when I think of law school, I think Legally Blonde. What do you feel like is your favorite movie? I'm gonna ask you two. What's your favorite law school like type of movie? And then also, which one do you feel like is the most accurate? Because I don't know, is Legally Blonde accurate? I don't know. Or even lawyer. It doesn't have to be law school.
I don't even know that many. Okay, cool. I was like, I don't know that many like law school movies. I would say the only thing that from the Legally Blonde that I can remember that they got right is like the Socratic method, meaning like they make you stand up to answer questions and like talk to you one-on-one, like in the middle of the class. Like that's accurate. So any movie that has that in it, that is how law school goes, and they just throw you in like first day. They're like, okay, yeah, you brief this case that we were supposed to read last night, and then you just stand up and you do it. About the legal profession, I don't know about a movie. But like I will say one thing that all of the shows get right, and it's actually funny, me and my boss laugh about it, is like swearing in of a witness. Like the oath they give, that is verbatim what we say when we swear in a witness is like, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So we don't say the so help you God, because that's like a thing for some, like that's why you have to say swear or affirm, because it's against some people's religions to swear. So then we don't say the so help you God. But other than that, like that's something that most of the movies get right. We do say that. Most movies I see are like about being in court as opposed to like an actual practice. And I mean, yeah, it's pretty accurate, except for how crazy it can get. Most judges don't let it get too crazy, as far as like in my
Where
experience. But
everyone just like is
also,
standing up
I don't know about
speaking.
criminal. Criminal could get that crazy. I don't know, because I feel like that's a lot more like theatrics. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like I just wanted to know.
they're not very accurate.
Okay, so I think that was as we move into actually like the practice of being a lawyer. Okay, this is a good transition question. How much of being a lawyer involves remembering things from school, and how much is learnt on the field, like learnt through practicing it?
I would say 90% is learned through practice and 10% is from
Mm,
school. Because in school, you're learning so many different areas of law, and in reality, you're going to pick one. So it's like my field, there's a class called tort, and it's just about like when you inflict pain on another person, essentially, whether it's intentional or not intentional. And so it's like that's heavy in my practice. And then because I practice in Georgia and I practice civil law, then like Georgia civil procedure is heavy in my practice. So like those are two classes that I can think of that I use on a regular basis. But like unless someone's asking me a question or asking me for like guidance in a situation, I don't ever tap into like what I learned in property as far as like landlord tenant issues
yeah,
or contracts when someone's like, oh, my boss fired me and I didn't do anything. It's like, I don't typically, like in my actual practice, do anything with that. And so it's also different. I will give like school 10% though, because like specifically in my case for Georgia civil procedure,
mm,
because that translated a lot for me. Like I'm like, oh, I'm so happy I took this class my last year,
yeah,
because it ends up being like everything that I do. So now I know when a lawsuit needs to be filed by, when an answer is due, like those type of things. But as far as like, yeah, how to go about certain things, unless you had professors, which luckily I did, who were like very practical and teaching you, then you don't get a lot of like, you have to get trained on the job
yeah.
essentially.
Hmm. I wanted to. So I know, and I told the chat that you are a personal injury attorney, but maybe some of us don't know what that means. Doesn't know what that means.
Okay.
Can you tell me? Can you tell us what that means, and then also what your day to day like work routine like is? What is the routine there?
Yeah, so what it means to be a personal injury attorney is that I represent plaintiffs or people when they are hurt and it's not their fault. So car accidents, slip and falls, we're getting into like nursing home negligence,
Mm,
um, anything like that where it's like this person was like within your care, or you had a duty to not harm this person but you harmed them. I represent the people who were harmed and get them the support that they need.
yeah.
And then I don't remember the second part of your question.
Like when you go to work Monday through Friday, or
My
even
day to
Saturday through Sunday,
day.
like does it? Do you work even when you get off work? Are you still working? Things like that.
Yeah, so okay. um so Monday to Friday, for the most part, like I'm clocked in by 8:30, and then the clock out time varies day to day depending on like what I have going on that day or like deadlines. Um, so recently I feel like I do have at least one deposition a week where I'm like questioning um a defendant, or they're questioning my client as the plaintiff, or I'll have a mediation where we're trying to resolve the case for a decent amount, or other than that, it's like research, drafting, reaching out to clients, emailing, scheduling, things like that on the day to day. The only way I'll say, like, I do clock in on the weekends, just to make sure that my next week isn't too stressful, so that I can get like my life together. Um, but other than that, like, the only way I'll say that the work continues outside of work hours is because like your brain is just always going. It's
Yeah,
like, well, did this get done? Did that get done? Like, okay, how is this person doing? I need to make sure I check on this person on this day. Like, that type of thing. But as far as like sitting down at my computer and working, it's not like a 24/7. Like, I know how to turn it on and off.
yeah. Because I was gonna ask you, like, I know that you are like, I know you work out like 3 times a day, girl. This girl works out 3 times in a day. I'm talking about she wakes
Oh
up
my
early,
gosh.
clocks into work. I mean, she wakes up early, goes to work out, then clocks into work, and then does 2 more workouts afterward. How do you manage like having a social personal life and also like your career? Is it easy?
Yeah. I mean, like, crazy enough, like, easy. That's. I don't know if I would say it's easy, but I wouldn't say it's hard. Like, I think it's just about what you prioritize. So, like, my health and my fitness is important to me. My job is important to me. But then it's like my friends are also important to me.
Yeah.
So, like, it can be tiring, sure, but like I wouldn't say it's hard. It's just about like figuring things out. And I will say like my calendar on my phone is one of my best friends, because if I don't put it in my calendar, like I'll forget it happened. But as long as like we set something up and there's like enough time in advance for me to put it in my calendar, like we're locked in, I'm gonna make it happen. So yeah, like not necessarily easy, but because it's important, it's not like it seems like it's work or like a
Yeah.
huge task to do.
It's like making time
I
for
will
the
say
things that you
managing
want.
my different friend groups, that's the only thing that has ever like felt hard, because as you know, like my
Yeah.
friend groups don't really intermingle. Like I
Yeah.
have you from high school, I have my college friends, and then I have my law school friends, and like I don't really intermingle them. And so yeah, that's really the only thing that's like, okay, I gotta make sure I'm seeing them because I've seen them a few times.
Yeah.
But
Gotta
yeah.
balance it all. It's literally when they be like, people make time for the things that they want. It's like that same thing. It's probably easier because you want to do these things. Okay, so let's go into your current law firm. How did you decide what law firm to go with? I know you said that you realized that you like a smaller law firm rather than a bigger one. So what made that decision for you?
Honestly, the final deciding factor was the interview with the managing partner. It just went so well, and I connected with him on a personal level, and that was the first time that happened in an interview. So okay, actually, yeah, I'll give this backstory. So basically, like I summered for a big law firm for 2 years during law school. They offered me a position. I was going to accept it because, like, the thing is, if you get an offer from a big company, even if that's not what you want to do long term, you can always pivot. Take the money. If you ask me, take the money. So it's like I was gonna go do that for like 2 to 5 years and then pivot, right? But in my last year, I took this one class, which I can't even say that I regret, because like, God works in mysterious ways. But like I took this one class, and at Mercer, a C is considered an 82 or below, or an 83 or below.
Okay,
And I got an 83 in the class. And so because I got that grade, they took back my offer.
Oh man.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So it is what it is. I'm doing all these interviews though, and like I didn't take them off my resume because like that's the only experience I have really, and it was still good experience. And so I'm doing all these interviews. He was the first person to ask me like, "Why aren't you there? Like, what happened?" And he immediately, I mean, like I guess, and I was surprised because I was just honest about it. I was like, okay, well, the same story I just told, like that's what happened. And instead of kind of being turned away by that, like, oh, you got that grade, he was just he like sympathized with me, and then he like, that means that you kind of have a chip on your shoulder and you're ready to work. And I was like, you are so right. Like that's absolutely accurate. And so we kind of identify with each other on that level, as far as like, yeah, I'm ready to work. Like I want to prove to these people, like despite that grade, I have value, and I'm gonna give that value to you since you recognize it. And yeah, I literally finished that interview, and then I still had to go study for the bar, but I walked back into the room I was studying in and looked at my roommate, and I was like, that's the job. Like I knew immediately.
Wow, that's so nice.
Yeah.
And you're still there today.
Yeah, I was like, that's my job. Yeah. We've had conversations about it, but like my goal is to make partner there. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you have I think when I visited you the first time, I don't know if you had an office, but I think you have an office now, right? I've seen on your Instagram, right? Or no?
Yep.
That's crazy, bro. Yep. Well, okay, what was that feeling like? Did you have a cubicle before, or just a desk before, right? How was the feeling?
Yeah, so it was
like,
a cubicle.
Was like, hey, you get in the office. Like, how was that?
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a cubicle for like a year. Once we hired someone who like was a little below me, basically, that's when I got a desk, but not an office yet. And then we
Okay.
moved and like we bought our own building,
Oh,
and
you
that's
guys
when I
moved
got
buildings.
an
Okay.
actual office. But yeah, like we were renting at the other place. Now we have
Okay.
like a set building. And so
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love that, like, as I've grown, the firm has grown too. And I love that I get to grow with the firm because it'll be like, I don't know, like my value and my mark there is going to be undeniable. I feel like it somewhat already is, but I don't, I don't want to do too much talking. But yeah, like I like that I have like a set foundation with them. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it was big that we got our own offices. It was big when I was no like I had a conversation with him after like I think year 2 or year 3, and I was like, yeah, so we should take the junior out of my role. Like instead of junior associate, it's like, no, I'm an associate now, and like now we have another junior associate, and I'm her supervisor. So it's like,
Oh
yeah, it's just like keeps building.
wow. Yeah. Okay. I wanted to ask, um, you know what? Since we're already on the topic of your law firm, I know specifically that you work with in a black law firm, or the main, I don't know the exact terminology to use, but the main person is a black male, right?
It's
How
black owned, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
black owned. How is it in this career being a black woman, like with locks? Those three things in which, like, like these are things, that you hear about in that
Yeah,
career
no,
path.
seriously.
Do you feel like even in law
So
school too, like law school and maybe your internships and your current like job, like do you feel like there was any type of discrimination or anything like that?
okay, well those are all three very different things, right? So
Mm-hmm.
law school, I won't say it was overt discrimination. But it like I went to one of the whitest schools in America, quite literally. If you look
Okay.
up the ranking of whitest schools in America, I went to one of the whitest schools in America,
Uh-huh.
which is fine. Like no problems there. But with that being said, like I had very candid conversations about how some people who were my classmates had never seen black people until they went to college, and even if they went
Gee.
to, and sometimes depending on where they went to college, even then, like they had never seen black people until law school, or
Yeah.
had never like been friends or really connected with a black person until like meeting me.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing, but there wasn't like necessarily a level of like discrimination there. That's so hard to say because there were incidences where if they weren't students and they had more power, there might have been discrimination, but I don't think that any of the
Yeah.
staff ever discriminated against us. I've heard stories, and
Okay.
there's a professor there who, because he's tenured, he's been very discriminatory towards different people who've come through
Oh.
his class. But I was recommended to not take his class, so I never
Yeah.
did. I've never met the man, never seen him, but
Yeah.
like I do know that. But yeah, he's tenured at the school and doesn't plan on going anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, so that was that. As far as like the job market or like my summer internships, it's again not overt discrimination, but it is this feeling of like, you just understand as a black person what it means to be in these spaces where there aren't a lot of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so the big firm that I was at, they did make it a point to like, you know, put me with other women or women of color. So it's like some of my mentors. One woman who was, she was white, and also had two black mentors within the time that I was there, and they were both women. And so make it so that you feel more comfortable. Um, yeah, it's just amongst the people who you feel comfortable with. So amongst my conversations with other black women or other black men who were at that firm, they were more candid just about like, yeah, you do have to work harder, but it's like we know that,
Yeah.
like we go into the profession knowing that because fun fact, like only 5% of lawyers are black and only 2% of lawyers
Mm.
are black women. So
Mm.
and it's like you know that you have to work harder. But
Yeah.
then if we transition to where I'm at now, not only is it my manage or is the managing partner of the firm black, but the entire firm is black.
Yeah.
Um, so I definitely still like, I like being a redhead. I'll still ask questions like or show him, what color I want my hair before I just like execute,
Yeah.
just because yes, we're an all black firm, but we still have to take into consideration like when we go to courthouses, when we're with opposing counsel, when we're out in public, because as much as like we love our culture, we need to be aware of how we present to other people.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like I don't have to code switch, which I love. I don't say that was the biggest thing or the hardest thing in law school and with other job opportunities is like now I don't have to code switch. I don't have to, phrase my questions a certain way. Which is like involved in code switching. But yeah, code switching or the lack thereof, that's like the biggest bonus to working at an all black law firm is like, yeah, I can ask my question the way I want to. And obviously, like, I'm still professional, but it's like I don't have to put an extra thought behind.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that, this person who isn't from the same culture as me can't use my culture against me.
Yeah. And that brings up so you brought up like the hair color. And I wanted to bring up just appearance in general. Being a lawyer, I imagine you have to wear a certain attire, whether it be in the office or at court. How do you find, because you are a curvy girl, you are a nice, y'all need to look at her Instagram, y'all. Her body is banging. So, how do you find, where do you usually shop for your office attire? How do you make sure, like, because if you buy it online, what if the skirt is too short? Or, like, is there certain colors you can't wear?
I had that happen, actually.
Things like that. Heels, things like that.
Yeah. Okay. So there are no certain colors. There is like just length on skirts and dresses. So I've definitely had it happen where it's like, okay, so as you said, I work out in the morning and then go straight to the office. So like I've had it happen to where I bought an outfit, didn't have time to try it on, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear this to work. And so I like worked out, went to the office, put it on, and I was like, oh my God, it's too short, and had nothing to change into. And then just never wore it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are considerations, not necessarily what color you wear, but just making sure that things are the right length and not too tight. Honestly, it's just a consideration because at the end of the day, like my boss is very respectful. Everyone in the office is very respectful. But there are men in the office too. It's like, I don't want that kind of attention.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they would give it, but it's just like not even putting it out there. I will say like, I'm still going to be cute.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, my pants are going to fit the way that they fit, but
you can't help it, you know what I mean? Like, but where do you shop? Like, if you can put us on game, you don't got to tell us all your secrets, but
so I do like TJ Maxx is good. Okay. I like Marshalls. There's a specific website that I go to for my suits. It's called Bella Beauties or something like that, but it's like a female black owned website, and they like not tailor, but like they create suits. Like 3-piece suits, skirt suits, pantsuits, like dress, all of the above. And so they're really nice. That's where I've gotten all my nice suits from. And that's really it. There's just one place that my boss took me to get a suit one time, which I didn't even know that they did women's suits, and I can't think of the name of it. But it's like a common place that men go for suits, but women, if you want to tap in, like they make men's suits or women's suits too. But I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, so the day to day, I just have to be business casual. So that's when I do like the TJ Maxx, the Marshalls, occasionally Fashion Nova, but Fashion Nova is like where it's hit or miss to where you could get in trouble.
Shorter. I imagine Fashion Nova wants to just have the aesthetic.
Yeah. And so, but then as far as like suits, yeah, it's like Bella Beauties. So I'm like, I'll text it to you when I get home.
And I'll tell the chat.
Yeah, but I can yeah. But yeah, those are like my main sources for clothes.
Okay, I wanted to ask, okay, so I know that you've been a lawyer for a few years now, a few years now, and I wanted to ask, what has been your, if you can talk about it, I don't know how much you can talk about these things, so if you can't talk about it, it's fine. What has been your biggest case that you can talk about?
My biggest settlement amount, before needing to go to trial.
Yeah.
And like, actually, I'm gonna be careful because I don't remember if there was a confidentiality agreement in this one. So it's like I can't say names or like companies. but I believe that my biggest settlement amount is somewhere between like 250 and 300,000, if
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I want to say it's somewhere. It might be in the 300s. I used to like write it all down, and then at some point I stopped writing it down. I need to keep more better track of it, but yeah, I think it's in like the 300,000s as far as my highest settlement. So that means like we went to mediation and then went back and forth and ended up settling.
The chat, Kristen V Gaming in the chat said, "Can they spare some?" Girl, they probably, if they got that much, they probably
I don't
were.
have it.
They probably were. Something probably happened where they need it, bro. Like, chill out.
Yeah, yeah. And but
Um,
that's just me personally. Like the firm has done, I think the most the firm has done is like 1.25 million.
dang, yeah. I was gonna
Yeah.
ask, how many? If you can talk about this, like I said, I'm treading on like I don't know where I can, what I can ask and what I can't. But what has been? How many cases so far have you won, or settlements, or anything of that nature?
I don't even know.
Oh, it's that
Like
many,
I don't have a running
girl.
list. Yeah, no, we have a lot of cases that come like at any given time I have like 60 cases that I'm
Oh my
working on,
gosh.
but like that's even including like when a case settles, there's still another new case that had just got filed and now I'm
Yeah.
working on that case. So it's like I really couldn't tell you how many we've settled. Um yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Girl, I remember
But
when you
like
won
the
your
thing, it's
first
like hard
one.
to say winning because you said what?
I remember when you had your first like win. Like I remember you telling me or posting
Oh
about like
yeah.
your first win, and now it's so many you can't count. It's crazy. That's actually crazy. Um,
Well, I will say like they don't all go to trial,
yeah,
right? So it's like that's why it's hard to say like the win. Like a win is when you get to trial. Settlement, on the other hand, like yes, you can feel like it's a win because you did well for your client. But yeah, like it's not like something that went on my record for like wins at a trial. So like I still have only completed one trial. We have a few cases that are up for trial that should be going soon, but yeah, I've only ever gone to trial once and won.
wow.
So that's number still one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Dang. I don't know what I thought. I was not expecting 60 cases at any given point in time, and I also wasn't expecting like how. I guess I didn't know. So what? My bad. But so you would say most cases they end up settling before even going to court. What was that? What's that percentage
Yeah, like
rate?
95% of
Mm,
95% of cases settle.
mm, okay.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. If you guys have any questions in the chat, please let me know. I'm getting to my last like few questions for you. One of those questions being, what is the biggest misconception? Because we were talking about those movies earlier, so maybe people have misconceptions. Being a lawyer, being an attorney. What is the biggest misconception that you hear from others about being a lawyer or an attorney?
Okay, well, I'll start with being a personal injury attorney specifically. A big misconception is that we're all ambulance chasers. Yes, that exists, but that
Mm,
I don't know, that's just not me. Um, like if someone comes to me and they're like, "Oh, I've been in an accident," like my first question is like, "Are you okay?" Like I'm not
yeah,
like I know you came to me for my legal advice, but it's like I'm not concerned about taking on any and every case that might come across my way. Um, so there's that as far as the personal injury field. But as far as being an attorney in general, is that like we're all grimy and that we're all like just willing to do
mm,
anything. I mean, and the thing is, it's like you have to understand like there is the law, right? So it's like sometimes things can seem grimy, or underhanded when it's like, well, no, I'm just like applying the law. Like and I had to realize that being on the plaintiff side that, defense counsel, when they're doing their job, like it's not a personal attack on me and my client, even though it feels like it
yeah,
personally.
yeah,
Feels like it. It's not an attack on me and my client. Like they're just doing their job and trying to make sure that the law is upheld. Like that's what we're both doing. But yeah, I'd say like a misconception is that we're all liars and storytellers and grimy. It's like, no, that's just not, I mean, it
yeah.
like
There
anything,
are in
some
every,
people
yeah.
are, but like
Mm-hmm.
that's not all of us. Yeah.
I also wanted to ask, what advice do you have for someone who wants to be a lawyer? Um, Maybe they already graduated law school. Maybe they're trying to find a job. Maybe they haven't went to law. We already did have they haven't went to law school. So, what advice do you have for someone who wants to be an attorney? Maybe a minority who wants to be an attorney.
I definitely say do it. Like, just try,
Right.
use your resources. I always say, like, you can hit me up.
Yeah.
I mean, don't put my information out there on the internet, but like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, like, use your resources, find someone who's done it before so that you can just see that it's possible, but also so that they can give you tips along the way, because it's definitely a road that's already been paved for us. So you just have to make sure you have the resources to make it easy for yourself. Um, but yeah, I say, like, try it. There, like, let's make it higher than 5%, please.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. I think I only have one more question for you, and that question is like, what's next for you? Like, what's next? I know you said you want to be a partner. Is there anything else you want to give us that you can fill us in on what's next?
there there are some things that I like have been cooking up in my mind
Yeah.
that I'll tell you
Yeah. Yeah.
about
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah. So all you want to give the chat
um
though is the part that you want to eventually like be
y-
partner.
yeah, I will say, like, most of the things that I want to talk to you about that, like, I'm trying to work on making happen are like philanthropic. So, like, I want to do more
Oh,
for the
okay.
community. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I'm ready to hear it. You gotta message me or call me.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, you guys. I think that was all of our questions. Let's give a round of applause for Sades. Thank you so much for talking to us and telling us about law, being a lawyer, being an esquire, being a JD, being an attorney. There's so many names. Why are there so many names?
No, yeah. It's crazy. So, like, some people don't know the distinctions, but it's like, once you get your JD, you're technically a lawyer, right? But when you get
Okay.
your Esquire, that's when you're an attorney.
What's the difference between a lawyer and an attorney? That should have been one of my questions. I thought they were the same thing, interchangeable.
The only difference is the title, literally.
What?
What you can do, yeah, like, you can't practice law as a JD. You, like,
Okay.
know the law, but you can't practice it.
Yeah.
You have to have an Esquire, and so some people don't really make the, like, lawyer attorney distinguishment, but that's the difference.
Wait, so have you? I know this is like, I know I said that was my last question, but have you seen the guy who's on TikTok who, like, he's in Atlanta, I think, and I think he's actually on like
Mm.
P-Man, not P-Man, he's on Forgotten Little Trail in Atlanta. But I think he does the questions where he's like, "Oh, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer," and he's like, "Ask me anything." Have you seen that guy on TikTok?
No, send it to me.
I'll send it to
I,
you.
well, I feel like maybe I have. Is it a white guy?
Yeah, and he has a sign, and it says, "I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. Ask me
I
anything."
have. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
What are your? Yeah,
What is that? Ponce?
yeah, yeah, yeah. See, I
Is
knew
that
he was
Ponce?
in
Yeah,
Atlanta. I knew it. I was
yeah.
gonna ask, like, how is he able to give the advice that he gives without? Because I know you said you
Well,
can't give
okay.
advice.
So I put that as a disclaimer because, like, technically we can give advice. It would just behoove us to have the sign that he has, like how he's saying, "I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. Ask me anything." It's like that. That's really all you need, is that disclaimer.
Oh,
Like, whenever people ask me stuff, like, I do technically give them the same advice I would give a client, as long as I have the knowledge, but I make it clear, like, hey, this is me giving you this advice as your friend with legal
yeah,
knowledge, not as someone who represents you, because you just never want to, like, it's against our rules of professionalism. And yeah, you can get disbarred for, like, giving misleading someone to think that you are representing them, and then if them thinking you represent them puts them at a disadvantage because they don't seek other counsel,
yeah.
then that, yeah, you could get sued for malpractice or something. So it's just like
Mm,
a safety net for us to make sure that everyone we talk to knows, like, okay, if you did not have me on retainer or have not hired me or signed a contractual agreement with me, I do not represent you.
yeah. Okay, okay. See, these are the questions you have to ask. We learn things here. Thank you so much for this interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem.